Hello, everybody. Welcome back to 50 Shades of Tay. Today, I am joined by my friend, Jillian Melko. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate
course.
it. This is going to be really fun.
Yeah.
Jillian has been in TV, in film, stage productions. She has not seen these questions yet.
Oh, God.
I know. Imagine they're all wrong.
I can't wait. I'm going to answer them anyway.
Oh, my God. Okay.
It's going to be great.
Can't wait. We're going to start off easy.
Okay.
Oh, actually, we were going to start off easy, but then there's something that, I had to start with.
Oh, no.
I know. No, it's good.
Okay.
Okay, I have to start by asking you about your experience playing the Wicked Witch in The Wizard of Oz at the Atlantic Lyric.
The Atlanta Lyric.
Atlanta Lyric.
But yes, oh my gosh, it was such a fun, crazy show.
Uh-huh.
It was an audition that, in the back of my mind, I said, I'll never get there. This is crazy. It's just going to be a fun audition process. And I had done a show previously with the Lyric, actually 2 shows previously with the Lyric, and unfortunately they're no longer operating in business. They shut down last month. But the audition process for the Wicked Witch was crazy. There was a ton of people at the call, and they called us in one by one. We had to, first, the initial audition was preparing 16 bars in the style of the character to sing, even though the Wicked Witch doesn't sing. I did this really, really dramatic piece called Never from On the 20th Century, which sings in the stratosphere. It's kind of like scream singing. It's great. And got the call back and had to prepare one of her monologues and a side. And a lot of people don't know, if you haven't seen the stage production, there's a lot of vaudevillian comedy thrown in that's not in the movie. So the witch has all these sidebar monologues that she does by herself in the castle, or to her monkey or something like that. And they're actually funny. They're vaudeville comedy villain. And so I think what set me apart in the callback was that I did bring in that comedy, because I love playing a funny villain. I love a villain with a little bit of humor. So I found all those levels, and the director gave me a redirect in the callback, and he was like, now do it this way, add a little bit of sexy and a little bit of clowning and a little bit of that evil cackle. And I did, and I think that's what solidified it. But it was wild. I had to do all this technical, because she throws fire.
Yeah.
And it was terrifying to me to be I'm gonna be handling fire, but also pyrotechnics.
Oh my
gosh. So much smoke. On all of my entrances. At one point during the run, somehow on the set there were 2 flash pots. And if you don't know what a flash pot is, it's this fire wire that goes off and creates this giant plume of fire and smoke. And we had 2 in Munchkin Land. One was for my entrance, which was the one that went off that was further away. And then one was for my exit, which I had already cleared the stage, and it would go off to mask my running off stage, essentially. Theater magic. And there was one show where I guess somehow the flash pot triggers, the remotes, got reversed. And so right when I was entering Munchkin Land for my very first entrance as the Wicked Witch, the flash pop went off in my face.
Gosh.
And the fire, I was one step away from it being up my skirt.
Oof.
And catching my pants on fire. / I wasn't wearing pants because I was wearing a dress. Yay. It was so crazy!
That is crazy.
But
that's a fun story, though.
Fun stories,
yeah.
right? Yeah.
Oof.
That makeup transition, though.
Well, that's my next question. You know I have to ask.
Okay.
As a fan of green people.
Yes, Shrek.
What is it like being turned green on a nightly basis?
So I actually have it on my TikTok. If anybody wants to see the time lapse, it's on my TikTok, which I think my username is Jillian is Magical, because I play a lot of magical roles, which I love. But it took it. I timed it one night when I go off stage as Mrs. Gulch for the tornado sequence into We Welcome You to Munchkin Land. I think it was between 8 and 10 minutes to fully transform.
Oh my gosh.
And that includes painting my face, wig change, costume change, everything. Luckily, the costume change, it was a layered thing, so I had the witch costume on underneath my Miss Gulch costume, and I had on gloves so I could pre-paint my hands.
Okay.
Because hands take a while to paint.
Yeah.
As far as the face paint goes, I actually used the color that they use on Broadway for Elphaba. which is activated with water. So it's a little bit easier to put on than your traditional makeup. But like, I only got, I think maybe 2 practice runs in before we opened with the full effect, full wig, full costume, full everything. So like I had it down to a science of like, what was my priority? I had to paint everything green. That was the number one priority.
As it should be.
Like, paint everything green. Don't worry about detail. Get the wig on. Like, make sure I'm fully dressed with my wig. And I had to pin the hat, too. That was the other thing, is this giant witch hat. Like, the costume designer wanted her to be like a fantastically couture-ish kind of Wicked Witch. So I had this giant red wig, and then a hat that sat on top that was like massive.
Oh my gosh.
And you couldn't sew that to the wig, so I had to pin it every night. So like, my priority was paint my face, get the wig on, get the hat on, and then do all the detail work.
Wow.
And she wanted me to be like more glamorous. So I had to put on eyelashes. People, you know how stressful it is to put on eyelashes like in a quick environment. It's so stressful, but somehow I managed. I don't know, adrenaline maybe.
Oh my gosh!
But it was so fun, and I learned so much about like applying specialty makeup like that.
That sounds
and
like
I didn't have
heaven.
someone doing it for me. I did it myself.
Yeah.
Professional.
Oh my God, that's so fun. All right, you have been such a nice and supportive friend. How did you get into the role and into the character of being wicked and mean?
Ooh, okay. So I think this is my love of playing villains, because I think the one thing that is always a through line with a villain for me is that they are fighting for the justice of their own mind and heart.
Ooh.
So even if that justice is on the wrong side, as is many villains in society, they are so passionately tied to their truth as a person, even if it's twisted and warped. As an actor, holding on to that ideal of like, no, she's not wicked. She just happens to look different and have these powers, and she just wants the only thing that like her sister and her had to share.
Right.
Like her, I always like to think that her sister was the older sister, and that she got the shoes from their dead mother. This is my backstory for the witch.
Yeah, your own
like
headcanon.
she got the magical shoes first, and then the Wicked Witch was going to be the one to inherit them next. Obviously, Wicked canon is different, but like for the Wizard of Oz, the one thing was that this girl drops out of the sky, kills her sister.
Spoiler.
And
I'm just kidding. Could you imagine? If you don't know now, you know.
You haven't watched The Wizard of Oz.
What are you doing?
Dorothy's a murderer. Ooh. Anyway, times 2. She murders 2 people. Like, it's literally a horror story.
Yeah.
It really is.
It should be.
It's a horror story. Yeah. Like, it's awful. Anyway, so she literally is just trying to get this family heirloom back and grieve her dead sister, maybe, if she really hated her, as her sister. It's fine, even if they didn't like each other that much. She's like, she just wants the shoes to remember her sister. I mean, my sister loves shoes. God forbid if anything happens to her, I want her shoe collection. Yeah. It's good. Hey, sis, I love you.
Shout out.
She actually got me shoes for my birthday, so it's great.
Ooh, yeah. Okay, you have to show me after. It was just Jillian's birthday yesterday.
It was!
Yeah, we went to Universal Studios and got lit.
We got lit. Oh, no, we didn't. Oh. We got lit by the sun. It was so hot out. It was good. Hot. It wasn't really, though. It was cold.
It was windy.
Yeah, the wind was cold. It was fun.
Blustery.
It was fun, though. We saw Shrek.
We did, and he saw us.
I like to think Shrek's the Wicked Witch's brother. Or like cousin?
Or Sugar Daddy.
Sugar Daddy! Yeah. Shrek Daddy.
All right.
Did that answer the question? I think it did.
I think so.
I don't think she's evil, but she's evil.
Right.
I think she's just passionately trying to get what she wants.
And in her own mind, she's justified.
Yeah, she's doing it right. Like, she gets the little girl because she's like, give me those shoes. I'm not going to hurt you, really, but I want those shoes.
Yeah.
And then she takes the dog, but she's faking it. She didn't really hurt the dog. Like, it's fine.
Yeah, hopefully.
She throws fire at the scarecrow, but they had a thing. They definitely had a thing.
They matched on Tinder. And he ghosted her.
Tinder! That's a good joke. Because he's a scarecrow.
Yeah, and we can call it Tinderella. It could be like a spin-off of Wizard of Oz.
Tinderella.
Let's do it.
Please. Okay.
Swipe right on us. All right. Next question. Did you have a favorite scene from that adaptation to film, or not to film, but to act out?
Ooh. I honestly think my favorite, there was 2 parts. The first one was, there's a monologue. Again, this is if you haven't seen the stage show. There's a monologue that happens in Act 2 my brain is like, no, it's Act 1. Act 1 is really long in Wizard of Oz. So I think it's Act 1, the end. And she's in the castle, and she's like musing about Dorothy and what she's going to do. She's talking to herself, basically, and then one of the monkeys comes in. But it's we played with it, and we made it really fun, because I had this bit with the Winkies, and then I had the monologue, and it made the audience genuinely laugh at me every night. And I crave audiences laughing at me. So it was one of those moments of, like, I'm scary and wicked, but they're still laughing at me and with me, and, like, I have them in the palm of my hand in that sense. So it was like a really cool moment for the witches, like, character of people that don't know the play versus the movie, of having this moment and them not zoning out because it's not part of the movie.
Right.
So I really loved that scene. The other scene I liked was the tower scene when she has Dorothy locked in, because I got to hold an adorable dog.
Aww.
Our dog Toto, his name was actually Gizmo. He was so cute. So cute. So I got to handle him, and I got him green every night. It's hilarious.
Oh my gosh, lucky.
I had him in my face. I'd be like, "Ma, you're gross," and he'd always try to lick me.
Aww.
It was the cutest thing ever. And then I also got to, like, fire a fireball in that scene at Dorothy. So that was really cool effect.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, and that was also the scene I melted in. So it was like everything. Spoiler.
Yeah, spoiler.
She melts.
Yep.
Because it's water. Why she had a bucket of water in her own tower when she's allergic to it, I don't know.
She was reenacting the WAP music
I really
video.
don't think it's water. I think it's like a Winky's bucket or something.
And
Winky.
What is the Winky?
A Winky is a person. It is technically, I guess it would be a race of people in Oz. It's like a Munchkin, but it's a Winky. They're like a different race of being in Oz.
I don't know if this is true or not, but I really thought it was one of the what are they called? The Teletubbies. I thought.
Basically, I mean, in the movie they look kind of like Teletubbies. Not gonna lie, the fur hats.
All right,
they're like Oz's marching band.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, and now we transition into Teletubby talk.
Yes.
The next 10 questions are all about
Winkies. Oh yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
okay,
that's what I was thinking.
I'm there.
All right, I actually don't know the answer to this next question. What was the very first role you had in acting?
Oh, okay. This is the role I remember. The biggest one. We had just moved to Atlanta. I'm originally from Chicago. And, of course, in Atlanta, everybody goes to church. So my parents threw me into the musical program, like the children's, like, you participate in the musical. And they were getting ready to do their Christmas musical. And there was, like, it was mostly adults as the roles, and the kids were, like, the singing chorus.
Okay.
So they sang all the songs. But there were 2 or 3 kid roles, and one of them, which was the biggest role, was the herald, which was like the messenger for the Pharaoh, who delivered all of the bad news about Jesus being born and the prophecy and blah, 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 if you're not religious. So I was splitting the role with a kid because it was quite a big part, and so they wanted to split it in half and have 2 kids go back and forth instead of memorizing all the lines.
Right.
But being the little psycho I was, I had memorized the entire show. Like, I knew
gosh.
every line, every word, every song, every line for the part that I was playing, except, I was sharing it, so I only did my stuff. Well, 2 days before we opened, we were doing a weekend of runs. The kid that was sharing the role with me got scared, and he was like, I can't do it. I'm not doing it. So, like, he dropped out last minute because he was terrified.
Wow.
And so they came to me and they were like, Jillian. Taylor was his name, I think.
What?
I know. Wait a minute. Was it you?
Imagine? No. Could you imagine?
I'm pretty sure his name, it was Taylor, if I'm thinking of the right kid.
Wow.
They were like, he's too scared to go on. Do you know the role? And I was like, yes, I know it. And so I still know the lines.
Wow. And you did both parts?
So I did the entire role. Technically, it was one role. I did the entire role of the herald. I did all the lines, and it was the first time an audience, like, laughed at me. And so that, in my mind, was like that solidifying moment. It's clear as a bell. Like, the first laugh I got from the audience, I was like, this is it.
Oh my gosh.
The one thing I didn't like about that role is that we were all in ancient Egypt, right? So we were all barefoot the entire show. Except they made me put on sneakers for the herald part because I had to run up and down the stairs in the audience. And they were like, we don't want you to do that barefoot. You'll slip. And I'm like, no, I run around in the woods barefoot. Like, it's not, it's not a problem. And I hated that I had to wear sneakers, but it was fine. I still remember the lines.
That's awesome. That's such a fun story too. But okay, so I don't have this question written down.
Okay.
But hearing you talk about Scaredy Cat Taylor, who we're not bullying,
It's not. No, he's a lovely man.
Right. Do you have advice for someone who might have that fear, might have a stage fright?
Yeah. So my biggest thing I always tell, especially young actors, children I work with and things like that, if I teach, I say if you're not nervous before doing a show, or if you are nervous, it just means you really care.
Oh, yeah.
So if you're not nervous, I think it's something that you should be like, well, maybe you shouldn't be doing this because you just don't care enough. I always get nervous. I've been performing so long, and every single time I perform on stage or I'm in front of a camera, I get the adrenaline, nerves, the shakes, everything, like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. But if I didn't get that feeling, I think I would question my love and need to do it. The other thing is just breathing and remembering that you've put in the time and the work. Just rely on your gut and have fun.
Yeah.
If you don't have fun, then why
What's
are you
the
doing
point?
it?
Yeah, that's
like
true.
That's when in doubt, like forget the audience is there and just interact with the people on stage that you're having fun with.
Right. Yeah.
Or on camera, because I do that too.
That is really good advice.
Thanks.
All right, so you've been in stage productions, including Mary Poppins, as Mrs. Banks, Zombie Prom, The Mystery of Edwin Drood.
Yes.
So what is the one thing about doing a live show on stage that you weren't prepared for before actually doing it?
It's hard to say because I've been doing stage productions for so long. Are you talking like these specific shows or just in general?
Just in general.
Okay, I think the one thing I'm never prepared for is how different each audience is and how you have to adjust on the fly to that.
Oh, wow.
And so, like, I've done a lot of improv, so I'm used to changing it up and I'm really good at reading moods. But it's really funny to me when you have a night with an audience that's just a little different from the other audiences, and the jokes that normally land are not landing, or like the beats or moments or like intensities just aren't there. They're falling flat after flat. And then this random stuff that's in the show pops, and people like either laugh or they gasp or they cry at something so random that everybody glossed over and has never paid attention to, and you're like, that was a moment? The other thing that you never get prepared for is when you mess up and everybody on stage or behind the camera breaks. And you have to try to hold it together. There was this one day in Mary Poppins, and it was a very, very serious moment. And it's... I can't. It was between me and Mr. Banks. And... something got him. It was because we like had that weird, there's like a weird moment in Act 1 where they're like, she's trying so hard to love on her husband, and her husband's just like, go away, I'm busy, like I don't care, this is just obligation, like I married you because you're pretty, whatever. I know. And I kiss him on the cheek before I leave, and a little kid in the audience goes, ew! It's dead silent, and he just goes, ew! At the top of his lungs. The entire 3,000 people that were in the audience burst out laughing, and my Mr. Banks could not keep it together. And my back was turned to him because I walk away. And so like I was composed. I turn around to say my next line because he wasn't speaking. So I turn around. He is just full on
oh my
like,
gosh.
busting up at his desk, which caused me to laugh. And I tried to compose myself, and we lost it for a good 5 minutes, and the audience just kept going. And it just like, it took this like sweet, tender moment and like just didn't matter. Like I'm never prepared for those moments because it's so hard to keep it together.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny though. And then especially the fact that it's like something the audience did and not something that you it's out of your control.
It's literally out of your control.
But it's funny, especially because it's from a kid, and it's something so innocent too. It wasn't like, you know, like a heckler or anything. It was just a kid responding in the moment and his actual feels. Like he wasn't trying to do it for attention, which is what made it so funny, because it was just so raw and real and just destroyed that moment. Just so good. So good. Growing up, did you have a favorite musical? And if so, how did that impact your acting career?
Yes, of course I did. Who didn't? My favorite musical is always and will always forever be Beauty and the Beast. I'm a Disney child through and through. Let's be real. But Belle, I actually, before Beauty and the Beast was even really that big with me, I have always been an avid reader. So, like, having a princess, I used to fall asleep with books. Like, I didn't have stuffed animals. I had books. It's very nerdy. I love reading. Everybody should read. Read more. But having a princess that was, like, into books and, like, about exploration and adventure and things like that, and the music is beautiful and the story is fun. That Beast transformation, though, we'll talk about later. It's fine. You just did us dirty on that one, Disney. But other than that, like, Beauty and the Beast was always it always held a special place in my heart. Whenever I go to Disney World and see the live show, even though it's so dated, and, like, the people just sometimes are going through the motions. The musical on Broadway was incredible. It's just one of those shows that I've always and forever will love forever.
Oh.
It's so cute.
Did Beauty and the Beast make you want to get into doing musicals and doing stage adaptations?
No, I think I've always been drawn to being an actor, because even when I was little, I would pretend to be something else. It was never me being like, I'm going to be a doctor when I grow up. I was pretending to be a doctor. So from a very young age, and with the solidification of that first musical when I was like 7 or 8, it was like, no, this is what I want to do. I want to pretend to be other people. I want to create stories and bring them to life and, like, give people that joy that I feel when I watch these things.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's fun. Yeah. All right, so my favorite musical of all time, do you know?
No.
I don't think I've ever told you.
Shrek the Musical?
Oh, that's not, like, the greatest.
I saw it twice. I'm telling you what. When I saw it in previews, I was like, oh no. And then I saw it again. I was like, okay, they fixed it a little.
I do love it when I'm high, but I mean, not that I do any of that, you guys.
What?
I'm a sweet, innocent little baby. I know.
Stop. It's terrible.
But my favorite musical of all time is Chicago.
Yes.
So, of course, I have to ask you what your thoughts on the greatest musical of all time are. And if you were to join the cast of the next run of Chicago, who would you want to play?
Ooh, you know I was born in Cook County.
What? I knew you were originally from Chicago, but I didn't.
I was born in Cook
Wow,
County.
lucky.
Am I lucky or am I lucky? Razzle dazzle is in my blood. Oh yes, I love Chicago so much.
Oh my God, so
I think
good.
Still to this day, it is one of the best movie adaptations of a musical.
Yeah.
Like, I will say that freely and clearly. Like, I love the stage version, but I do think they did justice. A lot of the musicals, they do not do justice. But that particular adaptation was a chef's kiss. I absolutely love the musical. I actually want to play, like, a bunch of roles, but I think I would definitely, like, if I could dance better, I'm a decent dancer, I would just need to get into better dancing shape. I would love to play Velma.
Ooh.
I'm a Velma girl through and through. Like, I love Roxy's part, but, like, Velma's character is just so good.
Yeah.
Like, and she gets such great numbers. Singing all that jazz and, like...
Oh my God, yeah.
Can't do it alone and all that. Oh, it's so good. But I definitely think I'm more of a Mama Morton.
Okay.
And I think I could play Mama Morton now and, like, I mean, maybe in a couple of years. But, like, she's also a really fun character because she has all the zippy one-liners.
Yeah.
Like, I definitely would go for Roxy, too, but... Roxy.
For me, it depends on the day of the week. Sometimes I'm a Roxy, sometimes I'm a Velma. It just depends.
If I were a man, I'd play Billy Flynn, hands down. Although Cellophane, I have to say, is, like, just a quintessential number. I would play, let's be real, I'll do a one-woman version of Chicago and give you all 6 of Cell Block Tango.
Oh my God. Yeah. You know, that movie is one of the first movies I ever remember going to the theater over and over and over to see. And it, I think, is the first soundtrack I ever bought.
Wow.
Like, on physical media, on a CD.
Nice.
I'm obsessed. I watch it.
It's really good.
Way more than I should.
I definitely had the DVD back when I had DVDs.
Oh my God, I have the VHS still because I refuse to get rid of it. That's how much I love it. I have
a VHS of Beauty and the Beast that I'm not, like, the OG, like, 90s VHS. Somebody gave it to me as a gift. I didn't even own it. Like, we had gotten rid of all of our VHSs, and somebody gave it to me as a gift, and I was like, I'll take it. I will. I'll take it.
So you were in the Tyler Perry series, The Oval.
I was.
What was working on that show like?
Whew, that was a whirlwind. That was my first co-star. Well, yeah, it was my first, like, network co-star, which was awesome and, like, so unexpected because when I got the breakdown from my agent, and this goes to show you, actors out there, never listen to the breakdown and don't doubt your abilities, because the breakdown was calling for a woman in her 50s to 60s. Clearly not. Or I have a really good doctor. Woman in her 50s to 60s. So I took the take. I did the audition. I did it in one take. the audition. I was just like, I'm not booking this. They want someone older, so I'm just going to do it. Did it in one take, and I guess something in my take was what they were looking for, and they cast me, right? And so I got called to set on a Friday, and I was on set from like 9 in the morning until like 2 in the morning. Got in, like, hair, makeup, everything, got to set, was sitting in Holding, which was a freezing, by the way, Holding was in the replica of the White House that he built, which is a full 3-story replica.
Damn.
Like, everything. I was like, oh, I've never been to the White House. Now I have.
Oh, that's
okay,
awesome.
Great. So we were up on the 3rd floor in a kitchen, and it was freezing. And of course, I was just a co-star, so I didn't get a fancy robe or anything like that, but it's fine. I always bring a blanket with me on set now because they're always so cold. And I sat there for like, what? That was like a 16-hour day. Did not get to my scene at all. So I was on set the whole day, got hair, makeup, costume, everything, got to set, waited for like 6 hours sitting there.
Gosh.
Nothing. So they wrapped us. I didn't shoot, and I was like, oh no, they're not going to do my scene. Like, baby Jillian actor was like, I don't know anything about film and TV. I guess that's it. I guess they're not using me. Like, they just cut the scene. That's not how it works. Call me back on Monday, since they don't shoot. It was like they didn't shoot Saturday or Sunday with that schedule. Called me back on Monday, and I was there for another long day, but they finally got to my scene. Tyler Perry is a maniac when it comes to how he films his series. He basically films an entire season in 2 weeks' time.
Jeez.
They are shooting like 100 pages a day.
That's crazy.
And I don't know how these principal actors keep up with it, because they have to be like, okay, now you're on season 6 or episode 6, scene 3, and here's the pages, and change your costume, and let's go.
Yeah.
We got 2 takes.
Damn.
And that was it. They did like a close-up, and they did a wide shot, and that was it.
That's
They
crazy.
had 2 cameras. Tyler was directing. He was like, go here, do this. Okay, go, action.
That is crazy.
It was insanity.
I can't even
but
imagine.
Like, I did a thing.
Yeah.
There it is. Like, I don't hate it.
Yeah, that's so cool. Though,
there was a really embarrassing part that I was like so freaked out because it went so fast that they hadn't called cut, and I was walking down the hallway, and I stopped walking, and they were like, keep walking because they hadn't called cut, and I guess they were doing like a long shot that I didn't realize they were doing, and I was like, oh god, I'm never coming back on set again. I'm fired. I'm the worst actor ever. They're not gonna pay me now.
Oh my gosh.
They didn't end up using that footage. They didn't need it.
Imagine they still haven't called cut, and you.
I'm still on
Still
camera.
walking?
I'm still walking. Oh god.
Okay. In The Real Murderers of Atlanta, you played Detective Arnzen?
Sure.
Yes, that sounds correct. Do you like murder mysteries, and are you good at solving them before the killer is revealed?
Ooh, I love a good murder mystery. Still haven't seen that episode. I don't. I was streaming it. I think it was when I was like moving or during a show or something, and I forgot to record it. I'm sure it's on the interwebs.
Yeah.
Comment below. I don't think there's like a lot of face footage because it's one of those reenactments where they like blur everything out.
Yeah.
So I'm sure I recognize myself, but people would not be like, "That's Jillian! Oh my god, she's on TV." No. That was a really cool shoot though because they were using a prop house set, and so it had all these different. One room was completely covered in yellow fur. It was wild. We didn't use that room, but I took a picture in it. It's on my Instagram. But I think okay. Here's my problem. This is the same with standardized testing for me. I almost 100% know the answer right away.
Really?
But second guess myself and end up being wrong. Oof. And this was my problem with standardized testing all through school because I was like a straight A and then B student in high school because I got into theater and I was like, but I would always have the right answer and I would erase it and change my answer. And then when the test grading came out, it'd be like, you got a B because you erased all these answers that were already right.
Yeah.
But with murder mysteries, it's the same with playing D&D. Like, if there's a riddle or some kind of puzzle, I'm usually the first one to figure it out. Because I just pick up on clues. This is how life is, too. I'm very observant with, like, the little details that most people don't figure out. Yeah. So I think so.
Yeah. I would say with murder mysteries, I'm really good at figuring out who it is, but I'm not good at figuring out the why, like the motivation. Like with the latest Scream, I was able to pick, I'm not going to say how
don't
many.
spoil it, I haven't seen
I'm not
it.
going to spoil it, but I was able to pick the killers. I'm not
Yeah,
going to say how many,
sure.
but I wasn't able to. I was like, why are they doing this?
Motivation, yeah.
And what ties them together?
Sometimes the motivations, though, I feel like writers pull out of their butts in the most obscenely extravagant way and like make it work at the end.
Right.
But it's like, that's a stretch.
And then there's no way you could have figured that out because it's like, well, the clues weren't
there weren't ever anything
yeah.
there. Like, you knew who it was, but you couldn't figure out the motive because it's a story piece they reveal after.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
I think that's a lot of modern murder mysteries. They
Yeah.
like reveal the most important motive at the end. Unmask him, Scooby.
What was it? Old Man Jenkins?
Old Man Jenkins.
Yeah, Old Man Jenkins.
At it again.
All right. That's also another show to watch when you're high. Not that I encourage that at all. I'm just saying.
I don't do that.
You know, Scooby-Doo got me in trouble when I was a kid. Because I would watch the new episodes on like Cartoon Network all the time as a kid.
I loved it.
And our babysitter would come over on whatever night it was that it would air, like Thursday night.
Yeah.
And she would play Tetris. She had like a little handheld Tetris, and she played with the music on. And one night I was like, I could not figure out who it was behind the mask. And she had her Tetris full blast, and I turned at her. I was maybe like 8 years old, and I said, "Shut up!" And she turned off the episode. And to this day, I don't know. Who was behind
we
the
need
mask.
to watch it.
I don't know what episode it was though.
No.
I know. I feel like
We'll
there was
just
a
have to go binge
carnival
the
or a
whole
theme park.
series.
Yeah.
A carnival or a theme park that narrows
That's every
it down.
episode. I know it's probably Old Man Jenkins, honestly.
Old Man Jenkins did it again.
So, what project or role are you most proud of?
Oh, that's so hard. Okay. Wow. There's a couple that come to mind. One in particular is we did a full-out concert version of Little Women the Musical.
Ooh.
And I got to play Joe March. And my friend and lovely, I call him my stage husband, Nick Moret, helped co-direct and played opposite me. But it was it's a role that is just it's such a power, passionate, like driven role. Joe March is such a near and dear character to me because of the reading. Like, it's always been one of my favorite stories, Little Women. And I love every movie adaptation. I think they're all beautiful. But that role, even though it was a concert version, so it wasn't like fully realized, it was just lightly costumed and a little bit of set, it was still a beautiful collaboration. We had a full live orchestra. People came out to see it. And like, it was just all like the best feels. I met some of my dearest friends that are now like lifelong theater friends in it, and it was just a beautiful cast and a really cherished memory for me, and a role that like I don't think otherwise I would have gotten the chance to play or like had that moment. Another one I'm really proud of that never saw the light of day was Sally Bowles in Cabaret.
Ooh.
And I'm really proud because I auditioned thinking, I'll just be a Kit Kat girl in the chorus, or I'll be, there's a Kit Kat girl, it's not, is it Schneider? No. Now I can't remember her name, and I know the characters. Cost. It's Fräulein Cost. And I was like, she's the sassy Kit Kat girl that, like, is mean to Sally and, like, the Fräulein Schneider. And I was like, I could be her. She's like a belter, and like, yeah, she's in the dancing, but I can keep up with the dancing. And I got cast as Sally Bowles, and I was like completely flabbergasted because it just is not a role I've ever been like, that's not my type. It's not something directors look at me and go, you're a Sally Bowles. But this director in particular, who is just a visionary when it comes to casting, she saw something in me, and it was just one of those moments of like, I really shouldn't ever doubt myself. And I shouldn't ever, like, I wasn't going for Sally, but like, I put my heart into that callback just as like I would with any other role, and I happened to get it, and I was like, wow. That was one of those clarifying moments of like, stop like prejudging your work before you give yourself the chance to actually do it.
Ooh, that's
so like
really
it was
good
a
advice.
really solidifying like performer moment of like, I can do it even if my brain says no, you can't, this is not a role for you. Like, no, just go for it. And like, if you don't get it, great, you still like did your best and like put your heart into that. So that was crazy.
Yeah. Oh wow, that's
I
awesome.
wish we got shut down a week before we opened.
That's awesome.
Pandemic. It was a pandemic death.
Man.
It was very sad.
Yeah. Well, if you could join any TV show or movie that's currently in production. So like The Last of Us, Succession, anything that's current.
Okay.
What would you want to be a part of, and why would you want to be a part of that?
Okay, Ted Lasso for sure.
Oh yeah.
I have two, and they're both Bill Lawrence shows. I love his work. Ted Lasso. Okay. And I would want to be like Hannah Waddingham's like American sister or something like that, or like a cousin who comes in and is like, hey, and like the American that like stirs feathers that's not Ted Lasso or something like that. Like I would in a heartbeat be that character. And then I would want to be on Shrinking.
Ooh, I haven't had a chance to watch it yet.
Oh, you have. I'm not caught up on like the last 2 episodes because they've just been releasing them all. Right. But I will tell you, like, brilliantly written, brilliantly acted, and like the dynamic of the characters, like I can tell it's just like Ted Lasso. You can tell they have so much fun on set. They have such a bond. Yeah. It's great storytelling and like just the right mix of that drama, life, comedy. Like I'm such a huge fan of Bill Lawrence and his work because he has this beautiful balance of life and sprinkling in the fun and letting like those moments of silliness shine through. And like he was really good on that with Scrubs too. Like he's still going to keep those life topics, but he's going to be like, haha, here's a little silly bit that isn't really necessarily life, but it can be because there's really weird people in the world that do strange things at times.
Oh man, I'm dying to watch Shrinking because it's Harrison Ford, it's Jason Segel.
They're brilliant.
Yeah, I cannot wait to see the show.
They're so good.
Oh my gosh, we should watch an episode after this.
I know, right? Everyone on that show, it's so good, and it's just like the dialogue, the characters, the casting. It's.
Oh man, I don't know if I told you this, but my New Year's resolution, even though we're almost in April, almost, is to get into acting. And so I was asked this question earlier today when I did my Q&A with 50 Shades of Tay, and I said if I could be a part of anything, number one obviously is Scream. I would either want to be the opening death because those are always the most fun to me.
Drew Barrymore.
Yeah, I would want to be the Drew Barrymore spoiler. Imagine. No, we're spoiling Wizard of Oz. We're spoiling the original Scream.
If you haven't seen the original Scream,
I know.
Do yourself a favor
and check it out.
Go get it and watch it.
But I also said I would love to be in an ensemble comedy.
Yeah.
I just feel like to bounce off of other people just seems like so much fun. That and then Tigger and Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey.
That's you.
I know.
Tigger for T for Tigger.
Everyone that I've interviewed from that movie, hey, by the way, if you guys need a Tigger.
I think you'd be perfect, honestly. You're wearing stripes right now, so it's great.
All right, so what advice would you give to someone like me who is looking out to start acting?
Take a class, but make sure you do your research on the teachers because like a lot of people go to people that aren't qualified, and that's a big pet peeve of mine. It's like I've taught acting classes and I'm like very transparent, like here's my experience, here's what I know, here's what I do. If you want to take it from me, great. If it doesn't seem like a fit, then move on. But like a lot of actors just see flash and marketing and go, ooh, this looks like a person worth the money, let me go sign up and give them $1,000, and then it's really not good acting advice. Be truthful. Don't ever try to be an actor, just be truthful in the moment, in the scene. And then if you're looking to get into comedy, take improv. The other thing I learned from a dear acting teacher way back in the day when I was in college is just watch people. Yeah. Just watch people. I'm not going to toot my own horn, I'm a brilliant physical actor. Like I'm very good at physical comedy, at picking up body language, traits, changing my body. I won an award for playing a man because of my posture and the way I was walking. Oh, yeah.
I mentioned that. Yeah. Oh, so cool.
Because of that, because of the physicality, the panel and the board of the award committee was like, you changed between female and male so well and so distinguished in that show. And I was like, it all comes down to physicality. It's like I can't really lower my voice. I have a pretty high-pitched voice as a girl. So like talking like a guy, it's like this is gonna be it right here, right? So it wasn't anything I did vocally. It was just all posture. But like observation, like actors are sponges. We always have to be changing and evolving. So you always need to be studying, always need to be watching, always need to be learning, always need to be keeping up with what's going on in the world, and never set in your ways because people aren't set in their ways. We're always growing, even if our minds don't. We as people grow. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Maybe. Sure. So like, do it. Learn, have fun, be a sponge. It's never too late. Yeah. And then like find your truth while you're doing the stuff.
Yeah.
You want to be in an ensemble comedy? So do I.
Yeah.
But that's literally just like building the chemistry and like reacting truthfully.
Yeah.
We're doing it right now.
We're doing it. We're doing it. We've got 2 of the ensemble right here.
Ensemble!
All right, and then my final question. Okay. Oh my God, no, this is the easiest one. Is just where can people find you? What would you like to plug? What would you like to promote?
I am on the interwebs. I'm Jillian Melko. JILLIANMELKO. I'm the only one in the world, which is the advantage of being an actor. No, literally, like it's Ellis Island came over. They made up the last name. I'm the only one. Which is great for me as an actor. I am at JillianMelko.com is my website. I'm on Instagram at Jillian Melko. TikTok, Jillian is magical, although I don't update my TikTok, to be fair. You can find some great videos of me as Winifred Sanderson from the pandemic. I've
watched the one of you at midnight.
I want to be Winifred Sanderson in Hocus Pocus, the Broadway musical, which has not happened, but that is my dream.
It's going to happen.
I'm going to play her!
You guys heard it here first.
That's right. Prediction 2023. I mean, it's not going to happen this year, but it will happen. Where else am I?
Here.
Google. I don't know. I'm at Taylor's. I don't. The studio. I don't know. That's pretty much it, right? I don't do the Facebooks. And I don't do the Twitters.
Yeah.
I had a Twitter at one point, but I never was on it. And the only time I got on it, I just got frustrated because it was like streams of hatred.
Oh, no.
And I was like, I don't have time to block all this, so I'm not going to be on this game.
Yeah.
I'm just out here in LA trying to make things work. You know, if anybody has an agency that's looking for a redheaded psycho like me, I'm here. I'm very hardworking.
Yeah.
Funny occasionally.
Very funny. And I will put links to
I make
all
earrings.
of your...
It's great.
Oh, yeah, those are so pretty.
I think I made them.
I'll put links to all of your social media, your websites, everything in the description of the video so you guys can check her out and follow her.
Yeah, follow me.
Yeah, and thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it.
This
is a really fun one. I learned so much tonight.
Stop.
Are you ready to have another glass of wine and watch Drinking now?
I gotta drink my water first.
I'll drink for you. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, everyone.
See you guys again soon.
Bye.
Bye.